Good morning. Thank you for coming to today's session on what you as international students and scholars need to know about US taxes. Doing your taxes, as they say here in America, is fairly straightforward, but knowing what your obligation is may not be so obvious. So, we'll start with a very basic question. Who here in the US has to do their taxes? The answer is all of you.
Us? Why? Isn't it just for US citizens?
Well, not quite. You see, there are actually two types of tax status in the US, resident and non-resident alien. Since you are new to the US, you all are considered non-residents. As F&J non-residents, there is at least one thing you are required to do, the IRS Form 8843.
Wait, what? I'm an undergrad and I haven't worked a single day in the US. Do I still have to submit a tax form?
Yes, the 8843 is a requirement even if you had no income. All F&J students and scholars and their visa dependents, including children, must send this short, simple form to the Internal Revenue Service, the US tax agency. Since this information is probably new for all of you, let's open the floor for questions.
So I'm a graduate student. I don't work, but I do get a stipend from my fellowship. That's not considered income, is it?
Well, actually it is. In addition to paid work, you can also get income from a US scholarship, fellowship, or travel grant that is for expenses other than tuition, such as food and rent. However, if you receive funding from your home country, then that wouldn't count.
So, I'm a visiting scholar and didn't work last year. I didn't receive any other income. Does that mean that both my husband and I, we have to complete our own 8843 form?
Correct. To complete an 8843, all you need to do is go to the ISSO website for free access to SprintTax, which is an easy-to-use tax preparation software.
Do I have to use TurboTax? My roommate used TurboTax.
Good question. No, you can't use TurboTax because that is only for resident tax returns. And you certainly don't want to commit tax fraud. SprintTax is designed specifically for non-residents like you.
So, when is this 8843 form due?
The deadline for sending the 8843 to the IRS is June 15th, if it is your only requirement because you had no US income. However, if you did have US income, you will need to file a federal tax return in addition to Form 8843. This is free when you use SprintTax from Columbia's website. A tax return has an earlier deadline. It's usually April 15th, but may vary slightly each year. Check the ISSO website to be sure. Keep in mind that your tax return reports income from the previous tax year.
I hate to ask such a basic question, but what exactly is a tax return?
Well, simply put, a tax return compares the tax that has already been taken out from your income with the amount of tax you may owe to the IRS. Don't worry, this is all calculated for you when you use SprintTax. The result is that either the government owes you money and sends you a refund, or you may owe them more money. Oh, and beware of phone scams. The IRS will communicate with you only by mail.
Okay, anything else I should know?
Well, you may also need to file a state tax return depending on the amount of your income and the state in which you received it. SprintTax will inform you if you need to file a state tax return and will give you the option of preparing it for a fee.
What? You mean this is in addition to the federal tax return?
Yes, this is a completely separate process. Each state has its own tax regulations. And just to keep things interesting, states define tax status differently than the IRS. For example, New York may consider you to be a resident for state tax purposes, even if you are a non-resident for federal tax purposes. This is all explained on the ISSO website.
Is there anything more?
No, this just about covers the basics. And please, do your taxes on time.